Greetings and welcome to EHA Unplugged, the official podcast channel of the European Hematology Association EHA. This is a special Lighting the Flame edition where we talk to some of our promising and active members in the hematology community. Our guests in this podcast series have volunteered their time to attend and facilitate the Lighting the Flame program where they mentor young trainees and medical students in their field of hematology. In this podcast series, they talk about their experiences in their field and give advice to those who are interested in becoming a hematologist. So sit back and enjoy the podcast. Disclaimer: this interview was recorded outdoors during the Lighting the Flame workshop in Romania, in a wonderful location next to the fields and forest. Therefore, you may hear some cricket noises in the background.
So welcome to this Lighting the Flame workshop. I had the pleasure to have an interview with you, Umut, and would you please introduce yourself?
Thank you. My name is Umut Yilmaz. I'm from Turkey. I work in Istanbul University-Cerrahpaşa School of Medicine, and I've been working there for almost 10 years now.
So you specialize in lymphoma?
Well, I actually take care of all hematology patients, but as research, I'm trying to specialize in lymphoma. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe I should also say who I am. I'm Kirsten Grønbæk. I'm professor of hematology from Copenhagen in Denmark. I'm mainly working with MDS, but of course has been trained in all kinds of hematology, and I'm also working in the EHA board. So, so you are interested in lymphoma. Can you please give a short introduction to what lymphoma is?
I try to describe how lymphoma is set apart from other malignancies like solid organ tumors and leukemia and myeloma. What sets lymphoma apart and why is this organized in a different separate group? I try to describe this. And also, as an active malignancy that doesn't always require treatment is a unique feature of lymphoma. Almost no other group of diseases have this feature. And I try to explain when and how lymphoma should be treated and what happens that we have to intervene with therapy in lymphoma patients.
Because they're very different lymphoma. I mean, can you just, the picture of lymphoma, what is it like? I mean...
I try to separate lymphoma into two, not like pathologists do with Hodgkin and non-Hodgkin. I try to separate it high grade and low grade, and high-grade lymphomas almost always require treatment and the aim is always cure, whereas with low-grade lymphomas, you try to control the disease. Of course, obviously, when you have to treat, you try to get, again, complete remission, but the main aim is to control the disease and preserve the quality of life as well as preserving, at least delaying mortality.
So I think we were actually touching on this earlier today. So will you say then that the low-grade lymphoma is more like a chronic disease?
Yes.
Yeah. So that can be comparable to many others. So how long time can you live with a low-grade lymphoma?
It of course depends on which low-grade lymphoma it is, but in most cases, the aim is to get a near normal life expectancy comparable to the general population, or at least somewhat similar.
What is it that you find so fascinating with lymphoma? Where are you putting your main effort in lymphoma for research and
Right now it's more clinical, of course, but as I hope as I become more senior and I try to be involved more with clinical trials, that's my aim.
There's so many clinical trials in lymphoma, right?
Yes, there's so many new drugs and new combinations are going on, and it's a very exciting field at the moment.
Yeah. So can you maybe elaborate a little bit on some of them? Are there some that you find particularly interesting for?
I think that answer would be same for anyone interested in lymphoma because of the new developments with immunotherapy in both bispecific drugs and CAR T cells involving the immune system to eliminate lymphoma. It's the most exciting subject right now, and almost all research is going on around this topic.
Yeah. So do you think this is something that we in the future will see being used up front, or
It is going on already. Bispecifics are trying to be incorporated into first-line treatment.
And that's in clinical trials,
Yes,
right?
in clinical trials, and we are very excited to see how these will end up.
Yeah, sounds really interesting. And have you thought about, so if bispecifics becomes, so will that be the first choice, or will CAR T be the first choice, or will something else be the first choice, you think?
I don't think something else will be the first choice in the near future. I think it's either of these two modalities, but the main barrier and the main challenge appears to be financial.
Yeah.
Because R-CHOP has been successful for such a long time in both diffuse large B-cell lymphoma and also in low-grade tumors. And its cost is acceptable in most countries. And almost, for example, for diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, 60 to 70% of patients are cured with this combination. And if you add a very expensive drug to this combination, for at least 60 to 70% of the population, you will spend incredible amount of money without any real benefit.
Yeah.
It will benefit, obviously, the ones that do not do well with R-CHOP.
And do we have any way to select those that benefit and those that don't benefit?
Of course, there are ways, but the recent clustering of diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, I think, is very exciting. The two clusters with good prognosis and the other three have intermediate to worse prognosis. That will probably develop and allow us to maybe select the poor patients for these more expensive treatments to balance this financial toxicity. Yeah,
because I guess that will be one way at least to come around some of the financial issues. Yeah. We can better predict. So that's a good research question. Yeah. Now, if you are a young hematologist that is interested in lymphoma, what would you advise them to do?
As a clinician, I would, for me, what I did was I looked at old patient files that our professors treated before me, and I tried to really expand my experience in a very short amount of time. Oh, nice. So I took patient files and looked at what my professors did with these patients.
And you were already working in the department?
Yes. While I was working, while I was treating lymphoma patients, I was also taking the files that came for control, like 5 years after their treatment. Yeah. I took their patient files, I investigated them, I looked at how the side effects were managed by my professors and how the responses were considered. And I think I developed maybe 3-4 years of experience within 6 months with this effort.
That's a great idea. I haven't seen anyone doing that in my department, but I think it's a great idea actually.
I got this advice from an oncology fellow when I was an internal medicine resident, maybe 6-7 years ago. I got that advice from him. He told me that he always took patient files home, and I went with his advice, and I'm very happy that I did.
Yeah, I'm sure that must have given you a great background. Yes. But and how easy is it to get into hematology, into a good department with lymphoma? If you're a young doctor and want to, what would you advise them to do?
It probably is different in every country.
Yeah.
In Turkey, it's actually quite difficult to
get into. That's what I experienced too.
Become a hematologist, because you first, after finishing medical school, which is 6 years almost everywhere, you have to be accepted to a good internal medicine program following a national exam, and that takes almost 5 years to complete. And after finishing internal medicine, so you're almost 30 years of age, you have to take another national exam. And you have to do well and to get into a good hematology program in a large city like Istanbul or Ankara in Turkey. So, and that takes 3 years to finish. And after that, there is some sort of obligatory duty that you have to do in Turkey, which is just about a year and a half. So you're already 34, 35 years of age, even if everything went smoothly.
And then after that, if you want to do a PhD, it's only after that.
It's only after that. So that's
sounds like the Danish system in many ways. Yeah.
So you have to be really dedicated and committed in Turkey. But I hear in some other European countries, it's you can get into hematology at an earlier part in your career.
I think one problem could be that, if you only meet these patients at a very late stage in your career, I mean, you could be quite surprised or maybe scared even from some of the challenges that are with these patients. Could you try to tell us a little bit about that?
It's not exactly, at least in Turkey, while you are an internal medicine resident, we have almost 1 year of hematology rotation.
So they will see them there.
So my first I took care of my first hematology patient when I was 25. So
good.
Very early in my as a career as a physician. So and I have taken care of lots of endocrinology patients, rheumatology patients. So I have a decent experience in all these fields.
But that is also important, because what happens to our patients is they get a lot of different, complications.
It helps. It definitely helps, because I don't need to consult for hormonal diseases.
No.
And also in GVHD is basically almost a rheumatological disease.
Exactly, yeah.
And in Turkey, most hematologists have a very good amount of rheumatology experience and experience with immunosuppressive drugs. That managing GVHD is a little easier for us, at least at the start.
So it sounds like you get a very thorough clinical education, but what about research? How easy is it to get into research and get involved?
Yeah, I find it hard.
Yeah.
and I find it's only realistically possible after.
Because there's no time really, right? Yeah.
Because residency is a full-time job. It's not. I have done some research during residency, but nothing big.
No.
Nothing because it's a very good impact. So it takes time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
to get to that in Turkey. This is that way.
But still, you think that lymphoma is something a young hematologist should go for, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because of all the
excitement. It's very exciting, and also about lymphoma. When you look at the past, the medical science has developed incredibly well, and we can be very proud of the developments before us, from maybe 1980 to today.
Exactly. When I became a doctor, it was much more difficult to treat, I remember, Before.
And these developments saved or improved the lives of so many lymphoma patients, and it's almost unprecedented when you compare it to other fields of medicine.
Sure. Other fields of hematology also.
Yeah. Definitely. And the good thing is that this very rapid development is also ongoing.
It's still getting better, right?
It's still exciting that when you see the developments, the improvements from the past to today, and you can vision that it's going on and it will be even better in the future.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to work with a bright, forward-moving field, I think it's a good idea to go into lymphoma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we'll say thank you, Sir Umut, for a very nice interview.
Thank you.